Hey everybody, I'm JC from OneShotAdventures.com, and today we're talking about pulp adventures featuring the Uncanny Curse of Sekhmet. I love pulp adventures. If you need a break from your Dungeons & Dragons fantasy campaigns, you might think about running your players through a pulp adventure. Now, what's a pulp adventure? Think Indiana Jones, high adventure, punching Nazis in the face, traveling across the world looking for ancient treasures. That's a pulp adventure. Today, we're going to dive into a pulp adventure, The Uncanny Curse of Sekhmet, which you can download for free at OneShotAdventures.com. And I'm going to give you some tips and tricks on how to be a great game master for high adventure pulp action. There are versions of this adventure for Call of Cthulhu, GURPS, and Rissus. So no matter what your favorite system is, you can probably find a version of this adventure that works for you and your players. And the adventure includes pre-generated characters, cool handouts, and virtual tabletop assets, so game masters can get going right away. The Uncanny Curse of Sekhmet is set in summer of 1936, right before World War II began, and it sends the heroes on an epic adventure from Italy into Egypt, looking for a hidden treasure that's incalculably valuable. But a sinister secret society is also hunting for that treasure because they need the money to fund world chaos. Only your players can stop them. Now, I think that great pulp adventures always start out in the middle of the action. Remember in the Indiana Jones movies, how the opening of the movie always seemed to take place at the end of a movie you didn't see? That's what you want to do with a pulp adventure. So the Uncanny Curse of Sekhmet starts out in the same way. It starts out at the end of an adventure your players didn't play. The heroes are moments away from catching Skeet Skitshaw, a notorious bank robber. Now, Skeet's a bad guy. He robbed a dozen or so banks in America, then hopped on a plane with his girlfriend to go take a vacation in Italy.
Hey, what's wrong with taking a vacation after you rob a few banks?
But the heroes are hot on Skeet's trail, and they snuck onto his private airplane just before he takes off from Rome. So now the heroes are on the plane with Skeet. So while most of the heroes are in the cabin with Skeet, guns drawn, ready to apprehend him, one of the heroes talked his way into the co-pilot seat, and he's flying the plane with Skeet's uncle. But it gets worse for one of our brave heroes. You see, one of the heroes was late to this whole crazy plan and jumped onto the wing of this airplane just as it was taking off from Rome. You gotta pick the right player for this. Pulp adventures always add complications. The situation will always get worse and worse for the heroes. That's just a staple of this genre. So you have some of the heroes in the cabin with Skeet, another one fighting for controls of the plane, and a third hero stuck on the wing of the plane trying to figure out how to get in and not fall off while they're 10,000 feet in the air. Let the action begin. When I played this opening with my players, I had one hero brawling with the pilot up front, the one on the wing trying to smash the glass of the window to get inside the plane, and the heroes inside the plane trying to convince Skeet's girlfriend to hit him over the head with a bottle of champagne because he was having an affair with the movie star in the back. It was great, it was chaotic, it felt like a pulp adventure. Yeah, your players made it to Act 2. Now, they're someplace in the countryside of Italy, probably after an emergency landing. One of the challenges with starting a pulp adventure in the middle of the action is you have to smoothly get them into the next segment of the adventure. It's pretty easy to get your players into this next section of the adventure because they were just duking it out with some gangsters in the sky. When I ran this adventure, the players lost the navigation maps out of the cockpit and had to bring the plane into a landing on a countryside road. It worked out pretty well. But if your players somehow managed to get the plane back to Rome, it's okay. You just have the movie star that was in the back of the plane demand angrily that they need to take her to the set of her new movie. And now they're back in the Italian countryside. So here they are in the middle of nowhere, and out in the distance is the Italian city of Calcutta. Now, if you haven't seen the Italian city of Calcutta, it's beautiful. It's the city built on a cliff. And in a cool historical twist, Mussolini actually forced the citizens of Calcutta out of the city during the same time period. We really don't know why, but I'm just going to assume something sinister was going on there. So as the players approach the city of Calcutta, they see there's the old city, which they're not allowed into, and there's a bunch of bullying Carbonieri national police who won't let them in. They won't even say why. And then there's the new part of the city where most of the town's populace now lives. So as they enter the new part of town, they're approached by Mirella Danieli, a beautiful Italian woman who is panicking because her father has been kidnapped by a strange group of men known as the Vipers. They've taken him into the old part of town where nobody else can go, and she's afraid they're going to kill him. So it's up to the heroes to sneak into the old part of the city and rescue her father. Now this part of the adventure is pretty open-ended. The heroes just have to get into the city and rescue Daniela's father. Now when I ran it, my players decided stealth was the best approach. They climbed over the walls of the city at night, they avoided a few feral cats, and they made their way to Morella's house. But if you have players who like to punch their way through things, that works too. There's only a few Carbonieri guards, they're kind of jerks. It's easy to punch them out or get into a firefight and then make their way to Morella's house. Either way, this act concludes with the heroes trying to rescue Abertuccio before the sinister Vipers can get their hands on a special book that they're looking for. Now, what's up with this book, and why do these sinister Vipers want it? The book is called The Morning of John Shai. It's a medieval manuscript that contains the location of the tomb of Queen Hatshepsut, one of the most famous and mysterious of the pharaohs. Now, this tomb is very valuable because it supposedly contains 40 chariots made out of solid gold. The leader of the Vipers, Count Malefic, is desperate to get his hands on that much gold so he can fund his plans for world chaos. So with a little luck and cleverness, the heroes can fend off Count Malefic, rescue Abertuccio, and find the manuscript that's going to show them the hidden location of the tomb of Queen Hatshepsut. And that sets us up for Act 3. Okay, your players have now made it to Act 3. The Morning of John Shai explains that a medieval friar fell asleep in the contemplation chamber of Sekhmet, located in the city of Leontopolis, Egypt. There he had a dream about the location of the hidden tomb. The heroes are going to fly from Italy into Egypt to explore the ruins of Leontopolis to find the contemplation chamber of Sekhmet so that they can find the hidden tomb. When the heroes arrive at Leontopolis, they'll discover that it's a dig site run by the famous archaeologist Dr. C.C. Edgar. Dr. Edgar doesn't think that the contemplation chamber of Sekhmet's in his dig site, but he's willing to let the players look around. The contemplation chamber is hidden at this dig site, but the heroes have to find it inside Queen Kama's tomb. Really, it's the only place that it could be because the rest of the dig site still hasn't been excavated. The heroes have to rappel down into this tomb, and they'll find that it's waterlogged, mostly destroyed. There doesn't seem to be anything interesting there. But if they've read The Morning of John Shai, they'll remember that the vicar had a dream inside the contemplation chamber, which revealed its secrets to him. So all the heroes have to do is go to sleep inside the burial chamber, and suddenly they'll have a dream of the location of a secret door that they can find. And sure enough, when they wake up, it's there. And there, on the wall of the hidden chamber, they'll see the location of Sekhmet's hidden tomb. It's inside the Medoum Pyramid, located elsewhere in Egypt. But remember when I said things always get worse for heroes in pulp adventures? It's about to get worse, because just as the heroes realize that they've found the location of the hidden tomb of Sekhmet, the Vipers show up. With trucks, they've got submachine guns, they've got grenades. Now, when I played this part of the adventure, the heroes were still inside Queen Kama's tomb when the Vipers arrived. So the Vipers really had the upper hand. They laughed at the heroes, they chucked a couple tear gas grenades down there. They basically did everything they could to make the heroes' lives miserable. Eventually, my players escaped the situation by talking their way out. They convinced the Vipers the treasure they were looking for was somewhere else entirely. It worked, but I had one of the Vipers throw a frag grenade into the tomb to kill the heroes while they still could. Suddenly, the tomb was filling up with water, and the heroes had to scrabble and climb and try to get out of the tomb before they drowned. It was pretty exciting, and the act closes with the heroes now knowing the location of the treasure that they're looking for inside the Medoum Pyramid. It's time for the final act. The heroes now know the location of the hidden tomb of Hatshepsut and the treasure that the Vipers want, and they're off to the Medoum Pyramid to find it. The Medoum Pyramid is one of the earliest Egyptian pyramids, and it's surrounded by various burial chambers and other tombs, many of which hadn't been explored yet in this time period. So when the heroes arrive, they find a very eager archaeology student named Margaret Keller, who seems to be really into the tombs, and she knows them really well, and she seems like she's happy to help. Now, here's a spoiler alert. She's a Nazi. She's leading up a squad of German treasure hunters who are pillaging these tombs and taking the treasure back to Germany. Now, she doesn't really know about the tomb of Hatshepsut, but she'll happily agree to help the heroes so that they can lead her to valuable treasure. Now, to find the location of the hidden tomb, the players have to remember the inscription that they found on the wall inside the secret chamber they were just at. When the sun sets above Medoum and the shadows fall on the mastaba tombs of the dead princes, Sekhmet's pointed shadow shall take the living to the eternal sun halls of Hatshepsut. That's right, the shadow of the Medoum Pyramid will point to the location of the hidden tomb. But Game Masters, there's a little twist to this if you want to challenge your players with a little puzzle solving. After hundreds of years, the top of the Medoum Pyramid has eroded away, so the players have to remember to measure the distance of that shadow from the original location of that pyramid's top. But with a little thinking and maybe some engineering ability, the heroes will be able to find that location of the hidden tomb. So now the heroes have found the location of this legendary tomb, and they'll be able to enter it. Inside the tomb, they'll see the remnants of what was once the chariots of gold, but they've long been looted and destroyed. That's not what's valuable here. At the end of the tomb, they will see two mummies. One is obviously Queen Hatshepsut. She looks like a mummified pharaoh. But the other mummy is something a little bit more unusual. She has a lion mask on, but the figure is larger than you expect a person to be, and the proportions aren't quite right. There's something just not right about this. Have the heroes discovered the body of an actual Egyptian goddess? Or is this something more alien? Now, there's a lot of tools for the Game Master to use to really get an epic ending to this adventure. You have the Nazi treasure hunters who are desperate to get their hands on anything valuable in this tomb, and Margaret Keller and her Nazi goons will surely come in guns a-blazing to stop the heroes at this point. You also have the Vipers. Did the heroes really scare them off in the last encounter or chase them away? Or are they going to show up at this time to take what they think is theirs? And finally, you have the mystery of this mummified creature with the lion mask. When I ran this, I really wanted to play up the occult angle of these kinds of adventures. So I had Margaret Keller race forward and pull off the mask of Sekhmet. Suddenly the tomb went dark, and the heroes heard scratchings coming from inside the walls, and suddenly pulling themselves out of the rocks of the tombs were mummies and skeletons, all coming forward to defend their queen Sekhmet. So the heroes had to fight off the Nazis, they had to fight off the undead, they had to try to escape the tomb alive. It was dangerous, it was pretty deadly, not everybody survived. But everybody had a good time, and it felt like the kind of ending you want in a pulp adventure. Well, that's the overview of the Uncanny Curse of Sekhmet. If this adventure sounds like fun, you can download it for free at oneshotadventures.com. If you like this video, click the like button, and I'll see you next time. Hope you punch some Nazis along the way.